So here with us today, we have Leah McGlynn, who some of you may know as the star of the upcoming short Christmas story, The Angel on the Tree. Now, as some of you may be aware, there's been a big build about the release of this. I myself had a magazine review on it. What did you make of the magazine review, Leah? Did you think it reflected the film well?
Yeah, I think it promoted the film well. The magazine review we tried to keep simple, as a lot of our feedback from screening was that our film was confusing. So we thought it might work better if we tried to make things as basic as possible. So to keep the review basic, we used a subtle font, nothing bold and eye-catching, as we wanted it to be based on the quality of writing and the good and bad points of the film. Even though font seems like a minimal thing, it too reflects our film as short and calm. So it was basic, easy to read and follow.
Yeah, it did come across as easy to understand. I saw there was only 2 images. Can you explain why these 2 images in particular were used?
Well, we use these short primarily because they show 2 different aspects of the film. Both show a softer side of the character. We felt that 2 images were significant enough as, like I said earlier, we did want to keep things simple. The images both show my character struggling through the feeling of grief and loneliness. The main images is when the storyline becomes clear and you start to see the story unfold.
Yeah, well, the 2 pictures were really sweet. I saw the verdict though, that wasn't so good, was it? Why did it only receive 3 stars in your opinion?
Well, we based this conclusion on the feedback we received from our screening. We can also see why we only got 3 stars, as in some scenes we could see it for ourselves. The major errors that, although only appeared minimal whilst editing, were a big problem. Things like out of focus shots and unsmooth cuts. However, after screening, more editing was done and we corrected these areas best we could by using other shots and angles.
So, moving on, do you think the magazine overall worked effectively with the short film then?
Yeah, I do. Stayed along the same kind of genre, which was a drama. The 2 images which are the main focus of the review are both aiming to show the softer, more emotional side of the character. Throughout the film, you see many sides of the character, and the images used show us the turning point, as I mentioned before. The review for the magazine was fair in my opinion, and even though the rating wasn't as good as we'd hope, I still think it was a fair judgment.
Also, I believe there was a radio trailer. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Well, we thought that this was a good way of promoting the film and a way of getting it across to a range of different people as well as our target audience. The trailer includes a voiceover, clips from the actual short film itself, as well as sound effects, which you can hear throughout this radio trailer. Linking the trailer to the actual short film, we use the same background music in the trailer, which is featured in the film.
So, which actual voice clips did you use from the film?
We use the scenes in which you see a change in the character by using dialogue such as, "We could just move on." We use this simply because this particular scene starts to fit all the pieces together, explaining the storyline, and then becomes clear to the audience. They begin to learn about the character's life.
What about the sound effects? Did you think that these worked well? Would you have changed them if you were to do it again, I mean?
No, I think it all worked quite effectively. The sound levels were our biggest issue when it came to editing, as there were several different tracks all happening at the same time. So we needed to make sure we had each one right for what we wanted to represent our story as. This meant because we wanted our story to reflect a more emotional mood, we wanted dialogue clips to be the most dominant. At the same time, we wanted our trailer to draw the audience straight away, so we started with a car slamming its brakes on and a scream to really draw the attention of the listeners. Then throughout the rest of the trailer you hear a woman crying softly in the background to link to grief.
Well, the emotional aspect in the radio trailer is clear from start to finish. Is there anything that you would change with your radio trailer as a whole?
I think that if we could recreate the radio trailer, we would search around for a more dominant female to do the voiceover instead of a male, as this could link to the film as the main character was female herself. However, the voiceover we used was still dominant. The sound levels of the voiceover were good, however, could have been improved, so I would say taking more care and checking levels so when the pitch changes it doesn't change too drastically. However, we did smooth out the sound in editing stage, even though it wasn't a huge issue, but this did avoid a rather noticeable error by using technological skills we have learned over the work in progress.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Leah, and finding out the ins and outs of Angel in a Tree. Me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing the short film in full after reading this review and hearing the trailer.